Oh, man, turn the fucking frogs, dude.
All right, let's try and get into this card. This is our.
Yeah, we don't have anything to talk about, right?
we only have a whole fight night card to recap.
And I'll ask you to not make fun of Alex Jones again near me. I mean, if I'm not around, go ahead, but not near me.
No, okay. I will leave the low-hanging fruit exactly where it hangs.
Yeah.
All right. Let me pull up Tapology. We're recording already now. I hit record, so
yeah.
Say hello to the people, Brandon.
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank everybody who has subscribed or commented or liked, or I've received good Instagram messages from nice people that listen. We appreciate all you guys. It's not a ton, but we've been doing a little better as far as view counts, which isn't saying like a ton, but it's really exciting, and hopefully you guys like it as much as we like to make them. We really appreciate you guys. You know, and like this is just two homies or three homies now, talking about fights and how retarded we are, but or I am anyway. Sorry, I probably should use that word that early, but how mentally handicapped I am. And, thank you guys for letting me get my ADHD out.
Yeah, I much appreciation to anybody who's been with us since the beginning and still watching, even though we're seemingly kind of running in place, but that's cool because we still have to get our reps in. I expect that we might be doing that for even longer, you know. So I think it's cool that anybody who tunes in and watches and shows us a little bit of support gets to see us grow and kind of see where we're at now, and hopefully they'll have good things to say about us down the road. Once
and the monkeys are dying in the NeuroLeague trials. It's 15 out of 17 died.
Oh, I mean that's they're monkeys for a reason. I mean, here's the thing too: a monkey can't tell you like, oh, it's burning my brain. So,
but the one that made it is fucking straight up like pretty much writing a new Declaration of Independence for everybody now. So.
People think he's going to be a future leader of the world. Who said that? George?
That's what you get for not hailing to the chimp. Remember that?
We're talking about Elon Musk's Neuralink right now, and
yeah,
we were discussing for our listeners, since we were just kind of like writing a little love letter to our listeners to get a little peek behind the veil of what we were talking about before we started recording. I was making a comment about what I think Elon should focus on instead of like spending how many billions of dollars on Twitter and fucking it up.
I
don't care, to be honest though, because I'm not a Twitter guy. But I mean, how has Twitter changed in from your perspective, if anything at all? If you're on there more like daily,
it's been better.
Yeah,
it's been better for me. I can honestly say that. But I mean, that's just because Tucker Carlson's on there now. So. They still need to give Alex Jones his account back, though. So that'd be nice.
Oh, so you're
Tucker one at a time.
So
Tucker's fine right now.
You're sticking around for the slow progress.
Yeah.
All right. This is episode 60. Dude, I can never keep count. We're in the 60s, but this is our UFC 290
69. We got to do something.
Official breakdown. Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. This is International Fight Week. This is probably going to be
Mexicans versus Australians. It is going to be crazy. There's like 9 Australians.
Let me take a gander. There is 1 Robert Whittaker, 2 Dan Hooker, Jack Della Maddalena. You're right. There's Jimmy Crute. Shannon Ross, and that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Aussies on this card.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Aussies descend upon Las Vegas. One in particular that you just mentioned looks to defend his featherweight championship title and take it back to Australia with him against the Mexican interim champion Yair Rodriguez, fresh off of his win over Josh Emmett. Alexander Volkanovski, on the other end, fresh off of his first loss in the UFC, but that loss came up a weight class at 155 pounds at the hands of Islam Makhachev, and as we both know, that was a razor-thin decision, like super close competitive fight. Some people thought Alexander Volkanovski had a case to win that fight. Having gone back and watched it more recently, I agree with the decision, but that still doesn't mean it wasn't an incredibly close fight. Alexander Volkanovski has a claim to say that he's potentially the second best lightweight MMA fighter in the world, honestly, and I think that's incredible.
That's true.
But tonight,
he did better than Charles did.
He certainly did. Yeah. But tonight he's back at his championship weight class, featherweight, 145 pounds, and Yair seeks to go in there and do the damn thing and hopefully make that interim title a official undisputed title. But he has quite the test ahead of him. And by the way, do we want to start with this main event or do we want to work up to it?
You didn't want to talk about Joe Anderson Brito?
Well.
No, I'm just fucking around.
I was trying to think. There's definitely some things to go back and talk about on that card. We have to mention.
There's too much on this card, dude. I like where your head's at. There's that. I'll just give my little thoughts, a 3-second wrap up of what I saw this weekend. And then you can give yours, because we get way too in the weeds. And
I agree.
So I did hear like people say that the card was very good. I liked it a lot. Well, I just thought it like Elvis Brenner, and
Gudam.
the gentleman that fucking absolutely demolished Kevin Lee. Gave him prayer beads and then took his fucking head off.
Yeah.
My buddy Alexander Romanoff, that was a funny ass fight. I was at the gym and I was on the treadmill looking up, and then that was the fight that was on, and I just started laughing. And then dude looked at me and he goes, "What?" And he goes, "I can totally fight in the UFC." Like, you look at this guy, and he goes, "You do that shit?" And I go, "No, but like if I took my shirt off and stood next to him, you would think I was the same guy."
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Yeah." And then the dude was all jacked, and he looked at me, he started laughing. He's like, "You're right." And I was like, "Fuck you." I got all butthurt. I made the joke, and then I got all fucking butthurt. Well, yeah. I don't know why he just wasn't tossing the go even off.
These self-deprecating jokes are for us, you assholes.
Yeah. Grant Dawson is absolutely amazing.
Grant Dawson, dude.
He's a fucking problem. Benoit Saint-Denis was great.
Yeah, the come from the upset finish there. You know, Ismail Bonfim was one of the heaviest favorites on the card.
Yeah. and he Saint-Denis did not look like outmatched and like just got lucky. Elvis Brenner, what the fuck? That was sick. What else? Who am I missing? That's pretty much it. I mean, Sean Strickland, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I mean, word up for getting the finish, but I mean, look at the guy who they had to call up to finally get Sean Strickland a finish.
To get a finish, right? Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I mean, the homie Michael Morales looked good against Griffin. But
Griffin was a really good test for him. A lot of experience.
That was a hardcore motherfucker UFC watchers fight, because all those dudes have like crazy ass names. They all look fucking saved out. I mean, except for like the WMA fights, it was pretty much a fucking like hardcore like card. Like, if you knew who any of these guys were that won, like, congrats to you guys. Like, you're awesome. Yeah. If you would have told me Elvis Brenner was going to do that, I would have told you you're fucking stupid.
Yeah,
I would have told you straight to your face, you're fucking stupid. That guy's a dog.
Totally agree. Yeah, we've been riding the Guram Kutaladze war wagon.
I still will
for a while. And yeah, absolutely. He was. I think he was winning that fight.
He was. Yeah. He almost had him on his way out. He cut that guy's head clean fucking open. He has a pussy on the top of his head.
Brenner, man, it just goes to show you got to kill these shoot box guys.
Yeah,
you have to. Crazy. Yeah, they're always going to be there. They're not going away. They are every bit the shoot box of old. Like, they're savages, man.
That's what's so funny is there's a meme going around where Mike Tyson is like working pads with Henry Cejudo, and they're like, "Oh man, this trainer's so scared of Mike Tyson." If somebody find it, and it's the gentleman that fucking founded Shoot-A-Box, and I'm like, dog, Mike Tyson's great, even like a 6-year-old Mike Tyson, but Javier Cordero's not scared to like hold pass for anybody, dude. So, that guy's seen some shit. So that was, and like in the comments are like, yeah, who this chump? Like, this guy needs to get a new job. It's just like, okay, dude.
Oh gosh.
I saw that meme the other day, and it was supposed to be like one of those like Sigma grind set memes, where it's like, this is how badass Mike Tyson is. He has a professional trainer scared. I'm pretty sure Rafael Cordero was like tossed off some type of stimulant, dude, because his eyes are just like hella wide, you know. But anyway,
yeah, good point. I would say
sorry, I go, we're not going to go off the rails. Here's 18 minutes of just straight bullshit.
I was going to say that would be like those kind of comments I feel like would make for a good thematic MMA meme page, sort of, or not necessarily a meme page, but like a new fans talking out of pocket type of like screenshots type of thing, like, look at this fan who's very clearly only been watching it's like, hey, look at this guy who's very clearly only been a fan of MMA for like 6 months talking all that mess.
Need those guys back but they were doxing people, right? And they got in hella trouble because they were like finding wasn't it like casual commenters or like whatever?
Yeah, they would screenshot
the
comment and then take their profile photo and put like a clown filter on it.
But then everybody would like flood their comments. I would go, dude, if this guy is not private, RIP, dude. So like every other fucking post the dude had would have like 11 likes, and then you just see one where it has like 1,800 comments or a fucking bozo. George St. Pierre is the greatest, and it's just like straight down the guy's comment sections, like with his mom.
I feel like MMA comment sections on Instagram have gone down. Yeah, they've gone like down the drain ever since best casual MMA.
Was it best casual?
I think it was. There was a few different versions of it.
There's one called best casual, but it was like casual. It was like something casual cop or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Casual MMA police. Yeah, that was one of them for sure.
Yeah, that was like the main one. Yeah. Anyways, damn, we went way off. Sorry, dude. Sorry, that's my bad. You were like fine tuned, straight to 290. Could definitely see where you're going, and then I just go, let me fucking derail this.
It's my fault because I had already set up the fucking matchup and everything too, and I was like, Yair Rodriguez coming off of his win over Josh Emmett, looking to make the interim.
Beautifully produced, dude.
And then I'm like, but do you want to talk about anything else?
Sure do. I got a story that no one's gonna know what it means, or it's only I would think it's funny. Let's talk about MMA casual cop comments and memes that no one's seen.
Before we wrap up on the fight night card, though, I do want to take a sec to say, I think I was most impressed by Grant Dawson.
Dude, that was crazy.
I was picking him against Demir, and because Demir had retired previously and then just seemed to decide to fight out his last fight on his contract and didn't really make it clear if he intended to continue fighting or if he was just going to fight the last fight. Whenever, we get the sense that there's someone has a foot out the door like that, I'm going to lean towards Grant Dawson even heavier than I would have. But I didn't expect that kind of domination, man. Demir's last fight before Grant Dawson was Arman, and Arman didn't control him like that. Demir's back control is just fucking on another level now. And I love how he kept switching the body triangle.
Grant's back control,
Grant Dawson's back control. I love how he kept switching the body triangle whenever Damir Ismagulov would kind of like try and rotate and put where the lock is, and put that foot down on the mat, and then Grant was like, nope, slip, and he would just switch. Man, it was something to behold, and I think he's going to get screwed out of some good matchups because
now everyone saw that and they're like, oh no, sorry.
Yeah, and he doesn't really talk out of pocket either or say like crazy outlandish things. So I'm sure the UFC is going to see a fucking fantastic fighter with not as much personality in Grant Dawson and fuck him over, man. I shouldn't be so fucking cynical about it, but I just that's all I can think about. It's like, oh man, way to be really, really great in a lightweight division where you can't get a title shot. Like,
he's just gonna be fighting killers too.
Oh yeah, but and you know what? I mean, I want to see some of those matchups though. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it just makes it so
fucking
interesting.
give me Grant Dawson versus Mateusz Gamrot. You knew I was going to say
Oh
that.
yeah,
But I mean, I wouldn't be dissatisfied with any of them
Jalen Turner after Jalen Turner wins.
after he disembowels Dan Hooker.
He's gonna fucking pull Dan Hooker's pussy hairs off this weekend. Dude. Let's go ahead and call that what it is.
Oh,
Let's get that one out of
that's
the way.
happening this weekend. It is. Holy shit. Yeah, man, this card is so stacked. So Jalen Turner's gonna kill Dan Hooker,
And he like choked a dude on the escalator, right? Like some YouTuber was
some
trying
prank
to make
guy.
fun.
Yeah,
But is that set up though? Because it's like I see that the prank guy's being tagged in all of them, so I feel like it's like a joke.
I don't know.
Like it's kind of set up.
I don't know if it's set up.
He grabbed that motherfucker hard though.
I think it's just because it wasn't posted. Well, I didn't see it on Jalen Turner's page, so I think that because I saw it was reposted by like Full Violence or some shit like that. I don't remember the page, and they tagged him. So I think they're just trying to get whatever rub they can off of sharing this prankster influencers like content. You know,
maybe yeah,
possibly.
But he grabbed that motherfucker like that shit was crazy.
He went for the choke grab too, which is
He went for that.
It was
that big red machine, dude.
Yeah, it was, which is a little weird for me to see from a fighter to be like going for the chokehold, like and I don't mean like a rear naked. You know what I'm talking about? He just boom
He was
straight
trying to
for the
bend
neck.
that motherfucker's windpipe.
And I don't know, it just seemed like, oh, hold on, like who do you think you are, Jalen? Like you should know that to just punch. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to see him deck the guy, but
what if he breaks his fucking hand on this guy's throat?
That's true. It's fucking fight week.
Grab the guy's fucking neck, shut him the fuck up, hold him down. You know, because he kicks, he punches, he gets in a scuffle, he could fall down the thing.
They were on the stairs. Yeah, he could have punched him, and that dude could have just
by
went
the throat. Best thing possible. So maybe don't, you know. Mm-hmm. Maybe and then the homie came through. What the fuck
like,
are you doing? Got him out of the way.
Maybe don't criticize Jalen Turner's actions.
Yeah.
Maybe don't. Here's what I would have done, Brandon.
And he and that fatty pack he had around his shoulder was probably full of spiders. He didn't want to fucking get too crazy with it. He probably had like $1,900 worth of rare exotic spiders in his fanny pack, dude.
He's got some of those Mexican mine spiders. Have you seen those?
He was like checking him. He's like feeding him. Like, oh, here, sweetie, I'm so sorry the guy did that.
So
Mexican mine spiders.
Mike sent me a link. Apparently,
Yair trains with them or what?
Yeah, they sent me a
12,000 feet.
They discovered these fucking massive spiders that are as big as a basketball inside some like abandoned mine in Mexico, and they're fucking massive. And the first thing I thought about was Jalen Turner. That would be like an interview question if we got to talk to him. It's like, dude, what is your like white whale of spiders, like in terms of a collector? But
that would be interesting. Like what to him was like his Charizard. You know what I'm saying? Like what's his Mewtwo?
My buddy Ben collects spiders and like legit like tarantulas and stuff. Like, you know, right in line with Jalen. And I visited his place, within the last few months, and he was showing me his spider collection. And he showed me one of the empty. No, he went to Reedley High though. You probably know.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So he
he
showed me. Awesome guy.
Amazing person.
Tremendous guy. Eyes of an angel.
We're same gentleman. Yeah, I love this guy. Absolutely.
He was showing me his collection of spiders, and one of these containers was empty, and he's like, "Yeah, that one got out." And he's like, it's in the house somewhere. So it's
and then
like
a rubber spider. That's such a good prank, dude. If you go, oh my god, where'd that one go? And then like the rubber Halloween spider like comes down like off a little pulley system.
Oh yeah, I would have gone up multiple octaves if he had pulled that shit.
Yeah.
But there's also okay, I'm just cool with this thing being loose in my house.
Yeah.
Then. Like I feel like that's peak spider guy. Like to not care, like that's a next level of spider guy for sure.
When like dabs first came out, one of my buddies, I think he dabbed a hole in his brain and he started like he started fucking collecting the fucking the black widows that would get in the jacuzzi filter at his parents' house.
Son of a.
And he would like feed it stuff, and I go, and then but he was like dabbed out of his mind. And I was like, dude, you probably just sit there listening to classical music watching these fucking black widows eat bugs, dude. With his like shirt off.
There was some lunatic who worked at Hobbs Grove not too long ago that was like putting black widows in his mouth or something. I saw it online, like on Instagram. Somebody had shared it because they have all the best people working there.
Those Hobbs Grove people are the craziest. Dude, basically, let's just put it in the context of anyone who doesn't know Hobbs Grove. Anyone that works like a wild or a scary hayride, those people are just like different, dude. The ones that like run. Or how about those dudes that like wear those metal knee pads that make sparks and they like slide up on you and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, those guys are off.
They are practicing for what they wish they could actually be doing, for sure.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's probably good that they can get a job like that, even if it's just for one month out of the year. Yeah, I'd rather that guy actually be doing it there than just sitting and fantasizing about it.
Like CD motel, like overnight front desk people when they're not doing that.
Well. And if they let the herd out, then they end up doing something. They end up doing something similar to what Jalen Turner's going to do to Dan Hooker this weekend.
He's going to pull that guy's fucking nipples off and feed them to him. Let's just break that one down now. So, if anything perfect could have happened for this fight, it happened to Jalen Turner because he had the fight on short notice. He was fighting for training for a striker. And then the fight pulled out. Gamrot came in, but Turner took no damage. Mm-hmm. He took no damage at all. He fought. He kind of like he's fucking hungry as fuck right now. Mm-hmm. Flipped that on the other side. Hooker had to pull out of this because this fight was made for before, right? But Hooker put out because he broke his hand. What's going on with Hooker's hand right now? He's a fucking striker. Mm-hmm. This does not look good for Dan Hooker. I love the Hangman personally, but yikes. I'll take the Spider Farmer.
If I'm looking at Jalen Turner's records and his methods of finishing the fight, in the UFC, he has 3 wins by KO, TKO, 3 wins by submission, 2 losses, one loss by KO, TKO, 2 losses by decision. So when he finishes or when he wins his fights, they're via finish. In fact, that's what I'm seeing from all of his work across the UFC and Bellator. It's all wins by finish. So do you think, with that said, though, if this fight, and I'm not saying Jalen Turner needs to get this fight to the ground to win, but I do think that that's where he would be playing easy mode if he decided to get him on the ground. Do you think if it stays standing, that Dan Hooker has a better shot in this fight? Not that he should be the favorite, but do you think that favors Dan Hooker a little bit more?
What I've seen from Jalen Turner, as far as like, I've only seen progressing in stand-up. Mm-hmm. As far as defense, as far as awareness of where he's at, not getting too. And I'm saying this, and it's probably going to turn into a crazy brawl, but I think he's going to be a well measured, and I think the Hangman's going to try and make it a little more chaotic.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think too, and I guess I'm a little. Now, I wouldn't say the word concerned, but I do think that like the Hangman's going to try and make it a brawl. And I think that Jalen Turner, he may very well win the brawl if he engages in that, but I think that he will engage in a brawl if it's brought to him. And I think that it's only going to be potentially bad if he does. Like I said,
you know what? Now that you kind of presented in that light, he
just doesn't come off as a brawler to me. I think I've seen the improvements that you're talking about.
He's a spider farmer. He loves spiders, dude. Spiders, they don't throw a bunch of crazy punches, dude. It's like come here, motherfucker, come here. And then they get you, and then you're done. I think it's a very apt profession he's taken on.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at his record right now too in the UFC. And it appears that all of his finish wins happened on the ground. Some of it is club and sub. Some of it was initiated by a strike that drops his opponent. But like with Brad Riddell, he dropped him with a strike, but then he finishes with the mounted guillotine. Jamie Malarkey, right hook to ground strikes. Uros Medic, rear naked choke. Brock Weaver, rear naked choke. Josh Kulabau, ground and pound. Really likes getting it done on the ground. I just think, I kind of would like to see an efficient win here. I think he probably wants to make a statement too, coming off of that Gamrot loss. Come out and hopefully be patient, not get sucked into a brawl with Dan Hooker. Get Dan Hooker down on his back and put the fight where he needs to put it to get a highlight reel finish. Well, would you consider ground and pound finishes highlight reel finishes? I mean, they go on your highlight reel no matter what. It
depends. Like the John Jones ground and pound is highlight type shit, but like a Sean Strickland ground and pound, is that going to be highlight? No.
I guess not.
There's levels, or what did boy say?
Corey Anderson.
Yeah, Corey Anderson.
There's levels.
Remember you did that mummy meme where like they found what was it Tutankhamun's voice would have been like through like 3D printing or something?
Yeah, I do remember that. Bo Nickel got a short notice late replacement against a gentleman named Valentine Woodburn. He was supposed to be fighting Trayshawn Gore. I believe Trayshawn had to pull out with like a sprained wrist or something like that.
Also, Jalen Turner training with Hamza Chimaev.
He was. So, that's fucking wild,
that's
too.
That's wild, dude. That's crazy.
I saw that post earlier today. Thanks for mentioning that. I forgot about that. Well, I haven't even looked into that. I don't know how long he's been training with them or anything. I just saw the photo.
Did not look small next to Hamzat either.
No.
Did not look small.
No, and he's a fucking lightweight. Man. Yeah, anyways. Bo Nickel now I had mentioned who did I mention? Oh, no, I was talking about that. That was the Fight Night card. Bo Nickel now is rightfully the biggest favorite on the card by far, with his opponent being a short notice late replacement. I don't really have much of a breakdown here. He should go out there and fucking run roughshod over him.
I'm just glad he's getting more time in the cage. That's good. That's good. I think that it's good. He just needs to get in there and go.
Yeah, he just needs ring time. That's the most important thing. I do, however, hope that he doesn't knee this guy in the fucking gonads in the process of taking him down. Because, I mean, he would have... who was it that he even fought again? Jamie Pickett. Now, he was going to beat Jamie Pickett anyways.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if it wasn't just like, boom, instant knee to the groin and take down and finish. It's like,
sure.
But hey, that's just me being a cynic. He's 4-0.
He looked a little weird. He looked a little like rushed. He looked a little like jittery in that one. Like he was moving too fast.
Interesting. But he's 4-0 in his MMA career. The only like non-wrestling loss that he's taken in any kind of combat sport was he got triangle armbarred by Gordon Ryan in a grappling match, and I mean it's Gordon Ryan, so super impressive. We'll see how that fight turns out. Jack Della Maddalena also fighting a short notice late replacement, Josiah Harrell, who is 7-0 and gets the call.
I feel like we found Jack Della Maddalena. We should take credit. I think we started his career on this podcast.
You did.
I think I'm saying we. Yeah, so I passive aggressively brought that up because I'm the person that did. But I mean, to your credit, you went and like looked it up right away, and then. So he's our boy here, is what we're trying to say.
Oh, sure.
I think you and I are simpatico in that.
Yeah.
You think this guy's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
I like this guy a lot.
I'll just come out and say, though, you were the person, you were the one who put me on to Jack Della Maddalena. So, And I mean, not that I hadn't heard his name, but you were the one that was like, okay, I'm going to go watch all of his fights right now. So.
And like, I act like I was like going to every gym and like asking people who I basically... Something came up in my YouTube algorithm, and I was like, okay. And I was like, who's this guy? That's all I did. I didn't
No. Jack, JDM would never have put on the gloves if not for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
if it wasn't for me. Yeah, absolutely. I put the gloves in his crib.
I'm guessing. I'm gonna not go so far out on any limb here and say that I think JDM is gonna put the wood on Josiah Harrell.
Who's most likely to get hype trained?
Bo Nickel.
Yeah.
I think so.
Who would you want to see? Because I get a sense that our buddy Mike just does not like Bo Nickel whatsoever. And so I was just like, oh, is that true?
No, I don't think he has a problem with Bo Nickel. There was
he
just
has a
that
problem with the way the UFC is hyping him, which I can see that.
I think there's a little bit of that. He thought it was dumb that Bo Nickel even had to go on the Contender Series. It was one of those things.
Yeah, right. That was I am in total agreement with him there. Yeah,
and that meme that he shared about like how quick Bo Nickel gets a fight, and then all
that's
these
kind of
other ones.
Conflated. That's like conflating it a little different.
I suppose. I mean, I think it was a good meme, but
no, it's definitely a good meme. But it's like
it's easy to get a guy for 4-0 Bo Nickel.
But
like,
I'm a Christian Crusader, like the Pride of the Whites, and so like when I see someone come after my buddy here. I don't like it. And so like I'm
You said Pride of the Whites on my podcast. Notice how quickly I said my podcast after that.
Yeah, get the fuck. I'm just saying, dude. I mean, we're trying to take some shit back here. I mean, they're getting a lot of shit. The Mexicans are champs now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got Kobe and we got Bo.
You do have an appreciation for white excellence inside the MMA cage.
I do. But
that meme of the dad from South Park that like just came all over his computer and walls and everything. That was you when Brock Lesnar debuted in the UFC. I'm sure.
And like I don't count the white muzzies as like part of the tribe here. I'm talking about like the motherfuckers that went and took Jerusalem back. I'm talking about the Nordics, bro. I'm talking about the Knights Templar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I like the European ones. I like the ones that stayed over there and said, let's just stay here. We don't need to go and fucking start any colonies. Let's just stay in our shithole country and be miserable and be hard as fuck. So yeah, I like the European, the Caucasus, the boys from the Caucasus.
Sure.
The Viking ones though. I mean, where are the Vikings now? You know.
Right.
Where are the Vikings now, Brandon?
Man, I don't know. I mean, what's his name didn't look too good. They're training Hamzat Chimaev right now, dude.
Gustafsson?
Yeah.
Oh.
Gunnar Nelson's dope as fuck.
Gunnar Nelson is consistent. He's very, very consistent. Bo Nickel's going to catch a body. Jack Della Maddalena is going to catch a body. No, I don't really see. I don't know. Well, I can't give a breakdown about their opponents, but I'm pretty sure JDM's going to box Josiah Harrell's face off. Bo Nickel is going to hump Valentin Woodburn into a fucking hole in the canvas, and those will be.
We were all saying this though about guys like Elvis Sprinter. We're saying this about a lot of like. I thought Bruno, what's his? God damn it, the dude from the last card, this Hulk was gonna win. By and then I called
Bruno Ferreira. I called the upset. Well, not on the show, but we didn't even break those fights down.
Like
but
in your head after it finished.
Well, on Verdict, I got because I looked at the records of Benoit Saint Denis or Saint Denis and Ismail Bonfim, and I saw all these rear naked choke, and I'm like,
Oh.
Yeah, but also, I mean, Ismail Bonfim it was super, super impressive in that win over who's our boy, the lightweight,
Terrence
McKinney, yeah. But relatively unproven still, though, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get back to this UFC 290 card. We'll touch on this WMMA fight, Yasmin Jauregui, Denise Gomez. This is a fucking banger of a strawweight fight.
I'll let you guys get to it, but Yasmin Wadigi looks fucking jacked.
Yes.
That was crazy what I saw the other day on Instagram.
I love that I can trust that this is a girl who trains like an absolute demon.
Yeah.
It's what you really need to see.
I would love for her to pull my fucking head off with her legs, dude. Just pull my fucking like a praying mantis and eat the inside of my spinal column. Just fucking rip my head off, Mom.
Yeah.
Please, just give it to me. Just rip my head off and kill me.
Yasmin Jauregui is 10-0 undefeated, and she has 2 wins inside of the UFC now over Estela Nunes and Yasmin Lucindo. That fight was...
Lucindo is a savage.
She's incredible too. Both of these girls were making their debut in that fight, and they really fought like it.
That was one of the better fights. Not the gender out the window, dude. That was Yasmin Lucindo, Yasmin Wadiki. Amazing fight. It's going to be, look, the one thing I love is the UFC on YouTube. They do the free fight or the marathon of all the fighters on all their best fights. I guarantee you that's the one that's going to be this week, and check that one out.
Has to. Yeah, absolutely. I know they like finishes, and that was a 3-round war, but that is peak Yasmin Jauregui if you want to make someone a fan of this girl. And Denise Gomez really landed on my radar when she got the brutal second round, I think it was, finish of Bruna Brazil. I was high on Bruna Brazil going into that fight, and she just came and fucking put manos on her, dude. She knocked her down. The club and sub, not a sub, but the club and ground and pound, I guess I'll say. She looked really impressive there. She's coming off of that win, and prior to that, she had a decision loss to Loma Lukbunmi. So I mean,
also savage.
Yeah, Loma
also
Lukbunmi,
one of my favorites.
No walk in the park for anybody. So let's see if she levels up or continues to level up and gives Yasmin Jauregui a good fight. Yasmin got dropped I wouldn't say that she was like rocked, but she got dropped, and it wasn't even a slip against Estela Nunes. So there is a little bit of I'll say defensive liability there from Yasmin Jauregui, some things that she needs to clean up, and Denise Gomez is not the girl who you want to test that. So exactly. I like to see if she closed up some of those holes defensively. And yeah, this will be one to not miss if you're a WMMA fan, for sure. Good stuff.
Now, is our boy, he is, right? We don't have to get into it, but
you're going to say the name Vitor Petrino and Marcin Prachnio?
No, a friend of the podcast, and I've actually spoken to him twice this week.
Fuck yeah!
And he spoke English to me. Normally, he usually just kind of like sends like mix of emojis, but he actually spoke English, and he said, "Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. I'll carry it with me into the fight week." And I was just like, "Oh, awesome!" Because he posts cool shit in his stories or whatever.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like my recent batch of stories, but when I would post people dying, he really liked that shit. So shout out to the boy Marcin Prachnio. Hopefully that's gonna be crazy.
UFC light heavyweight Marcin Prachnio, Polish. Yeah. I'm not gonna. Polish, yeah. I was gonna say Polish power, and I just say that for any Polish fighters, but I don't want to get Jan Blachowicz mad.
They're all badass. All the Poles, dude, they're badass, dude.
He's got a real test ahead of him in Vitor Petrino.
Right.
Vitor bodied straight chiseled, looks
straight
great getting off the boss.
Model, dude.
And we've seen these guys at light heavyweight.
Straight thug hunting Victor Petrino, dude. That's good irony right
we
there.
Know,
dude.
Yeah, we know this story. We know what these guys do well. We know, he's cut from the same cloth as the Carlos Olbergs, and I mean, I can keep going, but
Marcin is he's the homie, but he's been touched, dude. He's definitely been hit. Pretty hard. So
yeah, his most recent loss via KO or TKO was almost 3 years ago now, though, so that's a good sign for Marcin Prachnio. But yeah, he's coming in as the plus 220 moderate underdog to Vitor Petrino's minus 275 moderate favorite, but he has a wealth of experience over Vitor Petrino. Vitor Petrino only 8-0 to Marcin Prachnio's 16-6. But yeah, Marcin Prachnio, also 34 years old, to Vitor Petrino's very, very relatively young, 25 years old.
Yeah, let's see. I spoke to him on Monday, and said we're just talking about attacking the weak. Keep your head up. That's what I did, dude. And then he says right here, "Thank you very much. Best regards. I will carry it with me into the fight."
That's sick.
What a nice dude, man.
What a fucking mensch. Marcin Prachnio, we're pulling for you, man. We want you to pull this. Yeah. In fact, I'm picking you, Marcin Prachnio.
I'm picking Marcin Prachnio because we're buddies on Instagram. So
let's fucking go.
That's my boy. Right. That was so random that he just followed me out of nowhere. And then I wonder if so it's just some like Polish nerd that like runs his account, huh?
Yeah.
I guarantee you that's what it is. And now I'm fucking embarrassed.
I didn't realize that our boy Tatsuro Taira had his fight rescheduled for this card.
Well, that's the name I was going to bring up. Mm-hmm. But like you brought it up, but I was going to bring up Tatsuro.
Glad he's on here.
That's the real fucking homie right there.
That's the money right there. Is this the same opponent that he originally had, Edgar Chaitis?
It was going to be for the last one, and they moved it to this one.
Okay.
Well, also, as we're talking about Japanese fighters, I'm going to derail us a little bit, but I saw something insane, an insane stat.
Oh fuck! I haven't been recording. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you? I saw an insane stat because what's his name is training at. I saw it today on Embedded, and which fighter is somebody? I think is it Yair or it's someone, and they're training at Sergio Pettis's like private gym or something. And then I was like, Sergio Pettis, have you seen the motherfucker Sergio Pettis has fucking beat, dude?
Sergio Pettis is quietly putting a lot of scalps on himself.
Right?
He just beat Pitbull.
He beat fucking yeah.
I'll pull up his Tapology. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But we don't do that, but I want to give this guy cuz he's better than his brother. I think he's better than his brother by a lot, actually.
Patricio Pitbull.
His Tapology is crazy.
Kyoji Horiguchi.
Crazy.
Juan Archuleta, very impressive. Ricky Bandejas, impressive.
Insane.
Alfred Kashakian, I'm not familiar with that guy, but
whatever.
That guy was 11-4. Okay, Tyson Nam. Okay,
good fight. Yeah, whatever.
Good. That's good. His three most recent fights are incredibly impressive. He's doing great work, and it's more than I ever would have expected from him in Bellator. Excuse me, his 4 recent fights.
Right.
Yeah, no, he's earned that title, and I was surprised. I thought Pitbull was going to be where that whole run ends for him. He's also beat
Pitbull Joseph Benavidez. He's beat, and you know where I thought about it. He's beat Brandon Moreno. You ever heard of him?
He's a little guy named Brandon Moreno.
Yeah, we might end up talking about him here. Yeah. That's fucking wild.
Chris Carriasso.
You beat Brandon Moreno. You beat Joseph Benavidez. Mm-hmm. You beat fucking Ricky Bandejas, Juan Archuleta, Kyoji Horiguchi, and Patricio Pitbull. Okay, you're fucking crazy, dude. You're crazy. Yeah. And everyone likes your brother better.
Bantamweight royalty. I'll tell you where I think I think his run is going to end with his next opponent.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm picking Patchy Mix in that one pretty big. Yeah. I'm pretty high on Patchy Mix.
Badass. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not picking him to walk through Sergio Pettis.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be I think now that it's going to be a much better fight than I was giving it credit for prior to his win over Patricio Pitbull. This win over Patricio.
And I'm sorry to derail it with that, but like I heard Sergio Pettis' name, and then Brandon Moreno's fighting this week, and I was like, Sergio beat Brandon Moreno, and then I looked at the guy's Tapology. I was like, wow, dude, you're crazy.
That Kyoji Horiguchi one too was just with the spinning back fist, and Kyoji had been working him over for 4 rounds too, and he got that. Yeah. He got that in.
That was a classic.
Minute 3:24 of round 4. So yeah, man, that was the crazy one. And I felt bad for Kyoji, but it was one of those where it's like he could not have seen it at all. It was just the picture perfect spinning back fist. It was so fucked up.
Yeah, and he was supposed to fight Rufian Stotts, right? And he didn't. It got canceled.
Who are we talking about? Pettis?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I know Rufion Stotts was in that bantamweight Grand Prix.
Yeah, Grand Prix. Yeah, so that maybe that would have been what it.
Yeah,
pulled him out of it.
Patchy Mix just beat him recently to get the title fight.
Yeah. Sorry to derail you, but I heard it. I went on this like rabbit hole, and I was like, Sergio Pettis is insane.
That was very random. What made you think of Sergio Pettis again? You said you saw his name, but where?
I saw on Embedded, and I think it was Pantoja is training at his.
Oh, that's right.
Pantoja is training at his, and I was like, oh, Sergio Pettis. I go, oh man, Sergio Pettis, god damn. And then like I always just like look it up, and I'm like,
I wonder why Pantoja's training with him. I mean, not that that's horrible, but also
because he beat Brandon Moreno.
But Pantoja beat Brandon Moreno twice.
So they're just like, dude, remember that shit? That shit was sick, right?
I
Both
guess
of us.
so.
Look at us, huh? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Not me. But everybody loves this motherfucker.
Okay, let's climb up the card a little bit more. Before we get into like the three main fights, we'll mention Robbie Lawler versus Nico Price. I believe this is going to be Robbie Lawler's retirement fight. So
is it?
Let me look and see if there's any news attached to that one. But if that is the case, then yes, fucking farewell to Robbie Lawler. This is a good fight to go out on too. Nico Price brings it. He's a warrior. I think that if Robbie Lawler wants to also bring it, which he hasn't in recent performances, but yeah, man, poor fucking Robbie Lawler's 1-4 in his last 5. Wasn't aware that it was that bad right now with his.
But was one of those Ben Askren? Because he was kicking the ever-loving shit out of fucking Ben Askren.
Yeah, true. That was so. These 5 fights do really span back. He's obviously hasn't been as busy as we know that Robbie Lawler had been in his in the past in his career. But yeah, that was the first of these losses. Ben Askren,
butterfly effect. He kicks the shit out of Ben Askren, then who knows what happens?
And I can't really fault him for losing to some of these guys. I mean, for one, yeah, he should have beat Ben Askren. He wasn't in any trouble with that bulldog choke. We all know how that went down. Colby Covington beat him. That was to be expected at that time. Neil Magny beat him also. We shouldn't be too crazy surprised by that. He has that win over Nick Diaz, and then a more recent loss via KO to Brian Barberena. I think that would have been the most definitive sign that it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this ain't ruthless like he used to be. Across the cage from him will be Nico Price. And let me see, what are Nico Price's stats? What is Nico Price's propensity to finish fights in the UFC? In the UFC, yeah, Nico Price is a finisher. 4 wins and 4 losses by KO, TKO, 2 wins by sub, 1 loss by sub, and 1 decision. 1 loss, 1 win by decision. So, yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting fight. I think I don't know what to expect from a legitimate Robbie Lawler retirement fight, though. I think that's the biggest question mark for me is like, what does Robbie Lawler look like in his retirement? Does he go out there? Is it just another day in his at the office? Yeah. I trust that he's going to try and win the fight. Obviously, I'm not worried.
Absolutely.
I'm not worried that he's just going to go out there and go through the motions. But I kind of wonder if his output is bolstered a little bit by him knowing
he's
like this is it.
Yeah, he's not going to go out like Luke Rockhold did. I'll tell you that right now. But we're talking about a man here. Talking about a real man.
Yeah,
not toothless Luke Rockhold.
All right, let's take a bite out of these 3.
What's your favorite? I mean, take away the Rory McDonald fight. What's one of your favorite Robbie Lawler fights?
I would say his fight with I'm blanking on his name. The kickboxer that he deaded in Strikeforce.
Wasn't Melvin? Was it
Melvin Manhoef? Yeah. Melvin was kicking the shit out of his legs to the point where he was making Robbie Lawler's
head, like his knees went way above his head, like
all the way up. Yeah, it was, and he had zero regard for those. Like he wasn't checking them. He said, "Fuck these leg kicks," and it really looked like he was eventually going to lose the fight via leg kick, like falling over. And then he just catches Melvin Manhoef with the dirtiest hook inside when Melvin's trying to go in for the kill. And I just remember Melvin laying there bleeding into his own eyeball. Just
that was
fucking brutal, dude.
It was just dripping into his eye. Yeah.
Yep.
Right on.
So that what's your favorite Robbie Lawler fight?
Man, that you just brought that up, and I like that one. I liked when he beat Josh Koscheck, because I was just like sick of Josh Koscheck at that point, and I was like, yes, thank you.
I like that it was unexpected too, but at that point, everyone thought like, oh well, Koscheck's the new blood, like he should, you know, like nobody was expecting Robbie Lawler to go leave the UFC, do what he did, come back and have a career renaissance or any of that stuff. It was just like, for him to get that win over Koscheck when it happened was like, just fucking nice, justice. Man. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Robert the Reaper Whittaker getting in there with our boy Dricus Du Plessis.
This just does not stop, dude. This is just hitting us over the head, dude.
Still not.
Inshallah for this card. Thank
such
you
a
so
great
much.
card, such a tremendous card. The UFC always balls out for International Fight Week. I'm sad that we couldn't be there, but next year. But until then, our boy Dricus.
Press passes, please. Jesus, we got to call Mike Bone or whatever. Does he need like someone to hold the boom mic for him, or like?
We both like Dricus Du Plessis. We both like him as a fighter. We like his personality. We like the angle that he was playing to try and work himself into a fight with Israel Adesanya. I like everything that he brings to the table. I don't see how he wins this fight with Robert Whittaker.
This is a terrible matchup because a lot of the wins that Dricus gets that we've seen is he gets winded, he starts swinging from the hip, and his opponents see that. And they're like, I'm gonna fucking like I that's my chance. And then he fucking just does some crazy shit and gets the knockout. Robert Whittaker's just is not gonna just dive in there. Like he's not gonna care. No. This is the craziest like attitude mismatch. Because if you want to fight someone, and I'm guessing Dricus is gonna have some type of strategic answer for that, but our buddy Robert, he does not have he doesn't have that type of dog in him. He has several dogs, but not one of those like, I'm just going to jump in there and do some stupid shit.
No.
And he's very patient. He's down to score. He doesn't knock in. He's not going to fucking end anybody's life. I think he could end up getting a finish here, though. In a crazy, like, I think he could get a finish here.
You talking about Whittaker?
Whittaker. I think he's going to get him with that kick.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I was going to wait till you finished up and say I really think it's going to be the leg.
Shut up, Beard.
The leg kicks of Robert Whittaker. That could be a real problem for Dricus. I just think Robert Whittaker is like is a perfect example of a triangle fighter, and I say that like the whole fighter, athlete, martial artist, like what their averages are.
He's Australian GSP, dude.
Absolutely.
Let's call it what it is.
He's the perfect mix. He's not too much of any one thing. He's patient, calculated like a martial artist. He's always looking to grow like a martial artist. He will absolutely throw fucking down like a fighter.
Respects the sport.
Respects his opponents, and has all the athletic ability to boot. Like we've never seen him to be lacking in that area at all. Like, and athletic in the way that it just looks natural. You know, like the movements have always been fluid. Nothing looks out of place. It looks like he probably would have figured out fighting even if he didn't pursue fighting as a career. Like
we're talking about AI. Like if AI like make a fucking sick ass fucking fighter, right? Because it's not gonna quite be George St. Pierre, but it's gonna be fucking Robert Whittaker, and he's fucking sick as fuck.
And Dricus, I mean, we've seen him look impressive, but that's like almost despite some of his drawbacks. We've seen him looking incredibly tired, and
if he
still
gets this,
fighting
it's to
through
the fucking moon. If he wins somehow, it's to the moon.
Yeah,
dude. There's no way. That's hype train past anything we could have ever imagined, dude.
If I'm
they really want, I'm sure like the UFC would like him to win. If I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't think they like marching their contenders into a buzzsaw of a number 2, or number 1 contender like Robert Whittaker.
It's the same problem they have with fucking Max, right?
Yeah, exactly. And now, Rodriguez did mention that, in his time off between, this fight and his previous fight, he has had nasal reconstructive surgery.
Right.
He was saying, or his coaches were saying that he was only able to breathe like 15% or something even crazy less.
That's crazy.
Like what you're supposed to be able to breathe.
That's insane. Yeah.
And okay, like that reads if we're talking about how tired he's looked in fights.
Sure, he's looked fucking dog ass.
Yeah, but he just looks that way. He never really proceeds to fight that way, but it doesn't take long before he's breathing out of his mouth and just like huffing and puffing. And
this is like a movie fight. I feel like the way these two dudes look, like if they walked in, like it would be like a movie scene. Like the way they look, they're like leading men type dudes, right? Sorry to derail it again.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, Rodriguez is charming as all hell. He knows how to build a fight. I think he's coming into this with the right mentality. He was. I didn't watch all of Media Day, but he was asked about how he feels about being such a heavy underdog here, and he said, like, it's fucking Robert Whittaker. Of course, I should be the underdog. Like, what are we talking about? It would be insane if I was the favorite. Right. So I think he knows what's on the line. He knows the stakes. He knows appropriately,
Absolutely.
what Robert Whittaker and his body of work is bringing into the cage. So, I just hope it's a good fight.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
I hope Drickus doesn't go in there because Robert is going to go in looking for a counter. That's just the type of guy he is. He's going to get his points, but he's not going to do anything flashy unless he gets a good counter shot. You just hope it doesn't turn into
Drickus never pulling the
Drickus
trigger.
Does that same shit too.
Yeah,
he doesn't get that Yoel Romero fucking fever where he's like, I'm going to do the same thing.
I think I trust Drickus to not do that because when he smiles, you see those bottom teeth also. And and guys like that, they come forward. They come ready to throw. And
I don't. I'm like checking the underbite.
And he's a guy who, I mean, you mentioned the countering ability of Robert Whittaker. Drickus is a guy who definitely overcommits to a lot of his punches. Swings way past his feet. Like, that it could potentially look like one-way traffic. I don't think I'm too worried about like what you mentioned about it being, a stalemate because both guys are looking to counter so much. But I just hope that, even if it does turn into a Robert Whittaker ass beating, I hope it's a little bit of a prolonged ass beating. Not because I don't like Drickus or want him to get his ass kicked for a long time, but we've seen where late into fights Drickus can still bring it, and that's the dynamic that I hope to see here. Even though I'm picking Whittaker heavily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You'd have to.
Got to.
Yeah.
All right. So that is our featured middleweight bout. The last one before we get into this co-main and this main event. These are both for titles. There is gold on the line. The flyweight championship.
Wait. There's also the what is it? The Coco belt is on the line also. So I don't know if anybody saw that. Isn't Yair have that like
enlighten me?
You didn't see that Yair Rodriguez say like
his custom belt.
His custom belt. Was it Coco or Encanto or some shit?
I saw it. I didn't read any of his explanation about why he designed it the way he did. Or I saw it while I was at work, so I couldn't watch the video with volume. But that is a butt ugly belt. Yeah, I will say that much. I think there's no way that wasn't going to look butt ugly because it's never going to mesh with the gold. To just change the black to
he seems like a look at me type of guy, don't you think? Like a attention, like a glory hog.
I think and the weird thing about it, I agree, but I don't even think it's out of like narcissism. Like I
No,
think
it
I
was
think
supposed to be something sweet. I think they did it for him like as a sweet.
uh-huh.
Like it's like a sentiment behind it.
Oh, but
That they did
not
that for
even
him.
about the belt anymore though. Like just
Oh,
in terms of like how Yair carries himself and that like
yeah,
I think Yair really thinks like he's the shit. Like I think like if you tell
yeah.
Yair like make a Mount Rushmore of Mexican fighters, he names himself first.
So he's
Like
like Yair, early Yair, and then obviously the Yair now. So like he's on there twice.
yeah, it's just something about the way that guy pops off when he feels or he thinks he's been disrespected, even
Yeah,
in like times that like don't even make sense. He has like such a weird temper, and I
yeah.
feel like that's a byproduct of like some real deep seated
That's
narcissism.
definitely yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's definitely like your Tia dates a dude like that, and he comes to the party and he's just like, oh, I'm fucking badass with the
yeah.
Dodge Ram, and it's just like that's an old ass Dodge Ram, but he's like, dude, it's so sick. When they're like, oh, you want to go sit in it? He's like, nah, dude, I don't really care.
Was it Jeremy Stevens who he had to fight twice because the first one he
Where you
accidentally
poked him in the eye
his
and got
eye.
mad at him for
Yeah,
like poking his eye.
that
Taking
was
the eye poke.
I
Yeah.
think that was like where he kind of landed on my radar for me a bit. And I mean
Yeah.
I think I had already seen that's a lie because I did see him beat Frankie Edgar too,
Yeah.
and BJ actually. So yeah, I was
think
already aware of him.
You and I, before we started this pod, had talked about him. I think like
Uh-huh.
almost extensively at one point
Maybe.
about how like crazy he was about that.
Yeah. I was just so weirded out by it. I was like, dog, you poked
Yeah.
him in the eye.
You're weird as hell. And then
And
got
you're
all
like
mad.
incredibly upset about it. And he I don't know if a lot of people remember this, but he literally
Yeah.
like I think Jeremy Stevens was like even trying to like squash it with him backstage, which is
Yeah.
like to think to Jeremy Stevens is the
Yeah.
person taking the high road, and
Right.
like Yair was
Yeah,
giving
you're
them
gonna
no
go for it.
time,
Yeah.
and he was like, "The biggest mistake of your fucking life." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Dude."
yeah. Like, yeah, what the fuck? You just straight zero self awareness, dude.
So
We
yeah,
all know that guy though, dude. I've seen this guy, dude.
no.
We've grown up. I've grown up with a few Yairs, dude. Not so much fighters, but like as far as like personalities, I know a couple of these dudes.
Fuckboy haircut owners.
Yeah,
But back to our co-main event because that narco belt isn't on the line for the co-main event, but
the Sicario.
we'll get back to that one. Yeah, the very colorful belt. Brandon Moreno gets in there, faces who like somebody in the MMA space in the MMA media said that this just felt like such a like hero versus villain fight, and
It seemed like it feels like a little bit like Adesanya and Pereira to me.
I could see that a little bit. Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
Alexandre Pantoja has the former wins over Brandon Moreno. Brandon has
Let
come
the
up
homie
and,
let a homie that beat him train in his dojo. Like, go ahead, or training in the homie's dojo that beat him.
yeah.
Uh, yeah.
And I think I only became aware of Alexandre Pantoja because Brandon Moreno won the title.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't really super tuned into flyweight or like aware of like what the division looked like outside of the
Yeah.
top few contenders. So when Brandon got the strap, I'm thinking like, okay, well, I got to go back and kind of assess Brandon Moreno and his previous opponents. And I'm like looking at like, this Pantoja guy beat him twice.
Yeah.
I should take a look at this Pantoja guy, see what he's all
Fuck.
about.
He was on that ABC card with Yair when he had that no Sabe fucking fight with fucking T City, right? He was the like feature. He
Yeah.
was the co-main.
Yeah. But for me, it was, going back and watching him after I saw that Brandon had 2 losses to him. And I think I pulled up their second fight, or, well, their only actual fight, not including the exhibition in the Tough House.
Yeah, the tough. Yeah.
And I watched it, and I just thought, oh, that guy's going to be the champion.
Yeah, look at how fucking mean this guy is. He is a mean fuck, dude.
Yes.
And Brandon Moreno has a switch that goes off because he turns fucking mean too. Like his body kicks and shit, they're fucking mean. But you really only fought Davison for like pretty much the better part of this last decade, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much all you've really done. And Kai Car France doesn't look as sick of a win after he loses to Mira Balti, which he pretty much won that fight. But so those are pretty much the only wins you have. Where Pantoja is just like, but going back to what I was saying, Pantoja's just mean all the fucking time. Like, he seems like the type of motherfucker that really likes to hurt people. Mm-hmm. He enjoys hurting people. He wants to hurt people. He'll do it in his personal life. He'll do it whenever he fucking has to.
His personal life.
Yeah, I feel like, not to say that he has no allegations or anything.
No, yeah.
Like, if Brandon Moreno and like, they would definitely like protect themselves in like a self-defense thing, but I feel like Moreno would be kind of like scared and like, I don't want to do this. For Pantoja's like, fucking finally, I've been waiting for this shit to fucking happen, kind of shit. Like, that's the mentality he has. He's so fucking mean, dude.
His nickname's the Cannibal, which is just so good. Like,
yeah, dude, he's fucking mean, dude.
And from a technical kind of like breakdown or perspective too, I feel like that. I don't know. I feel like his nickname fits him pretty well because of how aggressive his jiu-jitsu is, and just how mean that is also, because he's not as much of a controlling fighter that he really wants to take a limb home with
it's like a chimp. Yeah, it's like a chimp where like they said it a million times. Like, chimps go for the feet, the hands, and your fucking testicles. Like, they don't go for your throat. They don't go for your heart.
Your jaw also.
Yeah, they want you. They want to embarrass you, and they want you to continue living, but like without any like. They want you to have shame in your own body. Yeah,
not to turn this into the Joe Rogan podcast, but
exactly.
They attack your mouth and try and pull your jaw off so that you can't bite them. They fuck up your hands and your feet so you can't scratch them or claw them. Yeah. And they fuck up your genitals so you can't rape them. Which I probably just got us demonetized by saying that, but apparently but I mean it checks out, you know, being a monkey, chimp specialist and all of that.
Dude, fucking did you see what's it called, Chimp Empire on Netflix?
No.
Fucking Pantoja is Jackson, dude. He's the alpha, dude. He's gonna display, and he's gonna run out and he's gonna display, dude. That's fucking balls out. He's gonna take everyone's bitch, dude.
Can we wrap this up early so I can watch Chimp Empire on Netflix?
Dude, do yourself a favor, dude. Chimp Empire is fucking sick, dude. Don't play yourself, dog. Don't give me that fucking shit, dude. Chimp Empire is legit badass, dude. We're like, if we were a herd of chimps, like, Pantoja would like swoop in, he'd pull like monkey meat out, he'd give it to one of the homies, and like 4 out of 5 of the pregnant like female chimps, like, you know, at least 4 of them are like from him, or like, and they already have 2 kids from him. And then Moreno's just like, he's who was the other? Abrams. Abrams is the young chimp that like everybody likes. He's an alpha too, but like, you know,
I was waiting for you to finish with the chimp comparisons for Pantoja, and I was gonna be like, "Yep," and that's how Pantoja beats Moreno. But
he pulls his jaw.
But you had worked Moreno into it yourself. Like, you were already like doing the full comparison across the board. Yeah. Now, do you think that? We're both kind of
hard hitting fucking.
Well, I'm trying to come up with a hard-hitting question, but I want to say, like, do you have any faith that this would be a close fight? Because, I mean, obviously Brandon Moreno's improved since they last fought, by leaps and bounds.
But he's Pantoja. Like, Pantoja wasn't in like a water bath waiting, like, after from don't progress anymore now. Yeah, let this guy get better. Like, no.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest holdup with it, because a lot of people are really quick to say, well, look, Brandon Moreno's the champ. Clearly, he's leveled up. Like, he's leveled up by a lot. But I mean, I don't know why anybody thinks that Pantoja would just be sitting on his hands and
on ice. Yeah,
yeah. And I mean, Pantoja's taken losses too. You know, like he's learned from those losses. You know, he's got the Askar Askarov loss. He also has lost to Davison Figueiredo. So. It's not been an easy street for him, but man, the three wins that he's racked up in route to this fight with Brandon Moreno, Manel Kopp, a guy we're both very high on.
Love Manel Kopp.
Brandon Royval by finish, rear naked choke, round 2.
Fucking very high on.
Alex Perez, a fucking a badass flyweight, round 1. Yeah, no, like he's firing on all cylinders right now, and I think that Brandon Moreno is going to make it a good fight. I don't think Alexandre Pantoja is going to be able to walk through him, and I think if he can't get him down across 5 rounds, I'm sure that he is going to. But I think in the moments when in the stand up, because we saw him just really beating Brandon Moreno to the punch in their second fight. There was a lot of that too, where it's just Moreno never really seemed to be able to figure out the timing, and just every time he tried to come in, Pantoja would just stick him with the jab. And I would honestly be really surprised if we saw that play out again. Like I think that Moreno's boxing has improved, a lot since then, to where that wouldn't happen anymore.
Yeah, his overall striking,
yeah. But I'm not.
Krause, we have nobody but James Krause to thank for that.
Yeah, right? From good old Glory MMA. That's also an interesting point too. I don't know that how long he's been training with James Krause, but that could be a big difference maker.
Correct?
I don't know who he's training with now.
Yeah, Saif Saud.
So
who's also a bodybuilding coach. So
ultimately, though, I think this one. I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes the distance. That I will give Brandon Moreno that much faith in his improvement that this will be a hard fought decision win.
This is a hard one. This is Wesley Snipes crying with the gun meme, like picking Pantoja here, dude. Because who doesn't like Brandon Moreno? We've fanboyed for him. I have.
Yeah.
I think of him as the same regard as I think of Charles Oliveira. I see them at like 1A, 1B as far as like ultra fanboy type. Like you just get so excited to see them win.
Yeah,
like they have like almost like a childlike wonderment. Like you're just like watching it like a child, and they're like just so like how much they love it.
Speaking of that childlike wonderment and how it applies to Brandon Moreno also too. Like I feel like even in fights where Brandon Moreno was seemingly never in any trouble and just kind of like cleanly won a fight, I still always get the sense that he kind of came from behind some way, even when he didn't, because
he just has that look about him.
I gotta say that's a good comparison. I do get more excited across the board for Charlie Olive's fights, but I get the dynamic that you're laying down there.
It's more because Oliveira fights crazy fucking guys.
Yeah,
flyweights. You name some fucking killers, but like it's not lightweight killers.
Yeah, there's more marquee guys at lightweight for Charles to make his name on. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Alexandre Pantoja.
We've been going with Pantoja for years. I think you and I both talked about this guy for a long time. We've been talking about this guy for a long time. Whenever we talk about Brandon Moreno,
we end up mentioning
Kentucky. Like, this is great.
That's true. Yeah, we've been on his jock like that for a little while.
So we can't just like all of a sudden like code switch it.
I think Pantoja is going to be the guy who's going to take a belt back to Brazil, because right now there's no current Brazilian champion in the UFC. So if Pantoja gets his hand raised this weekend, he'll be the first guy back on the board for Brazil.
I think one of Amanda Nunes' daughters is going now, because I guess her eggs are inside of Nina right now.
Her eggs,
as far as John Anik is concerned.
Her eggs are indeed inside of
Nina
Nunes.
Her eggs are inside of Nina right now, yeah. So, I think that's the daughter that's going to win.
Main event. Alexander Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez. I feel like we almost already started breaking it down earlier, but here we are. Top of the bill. The one that everyone's paying admission to see. Volkanovski, like I mentioned, coming off that loss to Islam Makhachev. Hey, a lot of people are coming off a loss to Islam Makhachev. Yair Rodriguez, the interim, the half Mexican champ, and I don't mean half as in he's half a Mexican. I mean he's half a champ. He's an interim champ. Now, nevertheless, it's still a title versus title fight.
Ari at best.
Yeah, it looks. He makes that colorful customized belt rock like none other can. It wasn't really for me, but if somebody's going to do it, I guess I'm not surprised that it was Yair Rodriguez. I know that Alexander Volkanovski should be a heavy favorite in this fight. In fact, let me click on the breakdown. Tapology has Volkanovski coming in as a minus 435 heavy favorite, plus 325 moderate underdog for Yair Rodriguez. And despite that, I'll tell you right now from the very beginning, not picking Yair Rodriguez. I would love to. Shout out to Mexico. I'm rooting for these guys to hold on to their titles, but
Yeah.
I can also
Would not be
see,
sad if either two of the guys won. Wouldn't be sad. I'd be
No.
very sad if Volk lost. I really like this guy, but
I can see Yair giving Volk trouble though.
sure.
I feel like
he's gonna rock him. I will say this. The only thing I will say is he's going to give Volk some type of strike, because I think Volk, it's just he's so good with his defense, just so good in everywhere.
Yeah.
I think he has a tendency to not quite, and I don't know, I don't think I'm the only person to notice this, but like, it's not, you can't say lazy, you can't say, it's just he doesn't block the head kick he doesn't take as much, he kind of like brushes him off, like a one hand kind of brush away, like get that away from me. Where this isn't the type of dude you want to just go like, haha, like no, you're not. But the crazy thing is, I think Volk is going to see that and he's like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to have to go ahead and make that a tight fucking guard.
Yeah, I think he has to. If Volk doesn't have a plan tailor made for Yair Rodriguez, I think that could spell trouble. I'm sure he's got Eugene Behrman or anyone else in his team.
What do you think is part of that plan? I think. What do you think is going to be like the centerpiece of that plan, if there is one, which I'm sure there is?
Well, thank you for asking, Brandon.
Yeah.
I think, and I've always praised Alexander Volkanovski for this, in that he will come into any given fight and be a completely different fighter based off what he needs to do for that specific opponent. Okay. I think that he will engage with Yair in the stand-up because he's just a gamer like that. He has to. I think he has to know where he stands with him there. But I think ultimately Volkanovski is probably going to use a lot of that wrestling that he trained to get ready for Islam Makhachev. And if he really wants to make sure that at the end of the day he gets his hand raised this weekend, I think he's going to put Yair on his back, and then it's just going to be a completely different fight. I just feel like across 5 rounds, Volkanovski is too smart to not do that. Because I mean, the kind of height disadvantage that he's giving up here, I mean, it's 5 inches.
They have the same reach, right?
71 inch reach. In fact, Volk's is nuts. A half inch longer, 71.5 versus 71 inches. But the height, 5'11" to 5'6", it's not the biggest height differential that I think Alexander Volkanovski has faced, but in a guy like Yair, with how good he is at throwing his head kicks, how good of a striker he is, he uses his, if he has any advantage in height or reach, he's going to use it. And he's just so fast. That's the thing about Yair that's impresses me, is that I feel like whatever he lacks in, whether it be at experience, which I shouldn't even say that anymore. He's 15-3. He has plenty of experience. He's not like a prospect anymore. But yeah, the speed and the defense too. I think I've always been a big fan of his head movement. I think that he slips shots really, really well, and I think that that's going to play a factor in this fight too, with that height difference. I'm interested to see how Volk, or what his answer is for that on the stand-up, because like I said, I really...
it's going to be calf kicks. It's going to be calf kicks.
Yeah,
he's going
fucking...
Yair's going to be walking around numb like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's going to be dirty with those calf kicks.
But even then, I do wonder, like, if that's going to be enough to turn it around or make it Volk's fight in the stand-up, or if he will eventually... if he comes out and beats Yair on the feet completely, fucking Volk is the guy, dude. Fucking Volk would be... I mean, he still lost to Islam, so I don't know if I'd go and say, hey, number 1 pound for pound, but it would just be, it's always such a gangster move to go and beat your opponent at their strength. Yeah. And if he were to do that, especially against a guy like Yair, who is an offensive dynamo, that would just be so fucking impressive of Volkanovski.
Yeah, I agree, dude. Totally agree. Very sad that we didn't get to see either two of these guys fight Zabit.
Let's just shoehorn Zabit into this.
That's where like Yair's kind of got derailed, right? When he was supposed to fight Zabit, and it was like injuries, this, pull out that.
He got shit canned by the UFC for like a weekend or something, right? Yeah, I do remember that. I don't know if it was because of a Zabit thing.
Like
Yeah.
Yair's had like so many different careers. I feel like, and he's only like 18 fights. It's like 2 careers, 3 careers.
Yeah. 18 fights deep, and challenging for this featherweight championship title. I think there's so much excitement surrounding this that doesn't even have to do with this fight itself, because we just saw the work that Ilia Topuria just put in, and the idea that he's going to be fighting one of these guys next. You know, I mean, granted, if Yair wins this weekend, I mean, we're probably looking at a rematch because it's Volk. You know, you kind of have to do that. But even then, though, man, I kind of feel like I feel like that happens. There's a chance Volk says, "Fuck this, I'm going to lightweight, and I'm going to make another shot."
He said that, right? He said he wants to fight Islam like right away.
Yeah. So this whole thing might be in flux. Like the top of this featherweight division could potentially look a lot different after this weekend. But for now, I'm predicting that it actually stays the same. And I think that's your prediction too, right?
Volk by decision.
All right. There is our final pick for this.
What would it be? 49-46?
49-46. Yeah, 4 rounds to 1 for Volk.
Yeah.
So you're predicting one of those rounds, you're kind of like
49-46, 49-46. And Sal Diamato has it 48-44 for Yair Rodriguez. It's going to be like... yeah.
Oh, the money you would make if you can bet on that, on the like certain judges' scorecards. Like,
I'm sure there's guys that do that, and I'm sure that there's guys that know that's going to happen and do that.
That's a dirty world. That's a dirty world to be playing in. But
it's a world that exists, man. Sadly.
Yeah. We also exist in this world, the Fight Plug podcast, and we're thank you again for having you here. That was a good episode. That was fun little wrap
again, man. Absolutely love. I mean, I think we were up to like 28 subscribers now, which is not a lot, but all 28 of you. That's where we basically fill maybe like a special ed classroom with that. It's definitely like a short bus full amount of subscribers.
We got to subtract ourselves from those followers. So me, you, and Mike, we take away 3, and it's 25 people. 25 people? Imagine when we're recording a podcast, we were doing it live in front of all 25 of those people. Yeah. Now, I know you say it's not a lot of people, and it's not really, but in that circumstance, I'd be like, man, there's some people here.
This is pretty cool.
We're talking in front of all these people right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. If you're one of those 25 or 28 people, I would say let us know in the comments down below if you would be interested in us doing like a live fight companion or anything soon, where maybe we have like a live chat where you guys can pop in and leave comments that we can read them live and respond to them in real time.
Should I post a body to body comparison of myself and Alexander Romanov?
Yes. That would be fucking incredible. Let us know.
Cut my body off, cut Romanov's off, and see who's who.
Spot the difference.
Like, would you spot the difference?
Yeah, that would be tremendous.
I think you'd be surprised.
Let us know in the comments if that sounds fun, and we'll make it happen. Until then, I'll also consider liking if you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any future episodes of the Fight Plug podcast. And until then, we'll see you on the next episode of the podcast that I just named, the Fight Plug podcast. All right, everybody, have a good one.
Good night.